Hey guys, welcome back to LeapScholar. And today we have a special guest Nikhil with us. He has been doing computer science engineering in from University of Toronto, Canada, and he has been uh, he has work experience from IBM in Pune and Tata Research Institute. So, uh, Nikhil, you can introduce yourself. Let us know more about you, how about your hobbies and passion, and how you got into computer science engineering.
Yeah. So during my undergrad, when I did my BTech from College of Engineering Pune, I mainly worked in a program called SWAYAM Satellite, where I was leading the project, and I mainly worked on the development and testing of the onboard flight computer software. So that kind of research experience I had, because of which I got into IBM, and then later on did Tata Research, and then I decided to continue a research oriented degree. I had options for PhD in US and also for research masters in Canada. So I chose Canada because based on the overall rankings, and there was also funding in Canada. So I chose, and so right now in University of Toronto I work on compilers research under the supervision of a professor, and it is a fully funded program. The scholarship and support from the university, and my experience as of now has been great in terms of the infrastructure, all the students, and the professors with whom I interact with. So yeah, that's a summary of my.
Okay, that's great to hear. Actually, a lot of students are interested in scholarships these days because studying abroad, many people are unable to afford. So, can you explain how you got 100% scholarship? That's really great achievement. So, can you explain more on that?
Yeah. So at least when it comes to Canada, what I am aware of, that if you join a research oriented master's program, typically they will cover all your tuition fees and give you a stipend which is enough for you to live there in Canada. So that is for at least for the top programs that I am aware of, which I had applied to. So apart from Toronto is the topmost, so definitely funding will be higher. But in other places as well, like Waterloo, British Columbia, I'm McGill, Albert, I'm aware that the research master's program are funded. So you need to apply to this specific program, but the only challenge is it is more difficult to get in, because there are few seats and a professor has to agree to take you on as a student, because a part of the funding will come from the professor, part will come from the university. So that is for with respect to in Canada. If you have to go to places in US, then you have to look for PhD, because that is what I had also applied for. So I'm aware that even there you get funding. Typically, it may be a fellowship from the department for a first year or few years, and then or it may be a tiership which pays your fees and gives you a stipend. And then later on, once you have a supervisor, then your funding comes from your supervisor. So those are the kind of options in terms of North America what you have. Apart from that, if you can also definitely consider, I have heard of other places like Germany, where there is no tuition fee even for international students, and there are part-time jobs through which you can support your livelihood there. So those kind of options you can explore. But if you want to do research, and if you are not 100% sure of a PhD, and mainly you're looking for some short-term research, then definitely Canada is a good option in that aspect. And and then if you then you can go for PhD either in the same country, same university, or some other place. For example, in my case, I'm thinking of going to Europe and US, because there the market is better in terms of the research institutions and stuff like that. So yeah, that is what I have in terms of getting scholarship, because otherwise it is difficult to get funding. If you're just doing a pure course oriented master's program, you might get some loans, I think, from India, which are tuition, which are interest free, but I'm not much aware of those. So yeah, this is what I can say about funding.
So, what are the criteria people should be aware of when they apply for 100%? Like they want 100% scholarship, so there must be some criteria, right? Can you?
Yeah. So yeah, as I said, like for in if talking just in the case of masters, like if you have like you have to apply for a research oriented masters, and the criteria typically is if you have some relevant experience. For example, if you're doing something in machine learning, then if you have some relevant experience during undergrad or your industry after your undergrad, which is like innovative, like not just simple assignments or regular assignments which students do, something which will stand out in the crowd. If you have that kind of profile, the best kind of profile will have like a relevant research experience, but research experience is not like 100% required, but at least you should have some innovative strong engineering experience in that particular area, so that the professor is convinced to take you on as a master's student and like provide you funding.
So, what was your experience? Like what project you did which landed you up in 100% scholarship?
Yeah, so my mainly like a few things which was mainly like during my undergrad I worked on 3.5 years for this satellite project. So that was like supported by the Indian Space Organization, and so like I played key role like doing leadership and stuff, like everything from designing and development, testing. So like I mainly worked on the software, but I also had some project management related experience, and few publications did come out of that project. Apart from that, like I did some remote internship with a US professor, but that was like just for like a couple of months, but that like did give me some help into visibility. So like that was the main, like one of the reasons why like they noticed my application. And but I would say the main experience was this undergrad satellite program. So like some kind of experience you need to have which will set you apart in the crowd, and that can come like either from university or from industry or from both. So and yeah, you have to apply broadly, and like there's it also helps to like email professors before you're applying or after you have applied, so that they are aware of your application, like because they might miss your application in the pool. So like these are the general tips and like a kind of background you need to have if you want to get into a research master's in.
Okay, yeah, that's great. How much your work experience matters in these cases? Like you have, I think, 3+ years of work experience in Pune.
Yeah.
So how much work experience matters?
So I would say it depends. Like in my case, for example, I was not able to get any recommendation from my work ex, because like I just worked for 1.5 years in each company, so they were not linked to provide a recommendation letter. But that experience did help me in terms of knowledge and whatever I apply in that perspective. So definitely, like if you have some work ex which is related to your work and like your research interest, and especially if they are willing to write a recommendation letter, then that will give you a boost. But it is not like a 100% required thing, because I am aware of students who like without even like having significant work experience, or like just after bachelor's, they are able to get into top places with funding and stuff.
And how much do you think masters matters in one student's life? Who should do masters, and how much value it adds to your life?
Yeah, so like in terms of research, I would say like it is a good thing to do if you are not like 100% sure of a PhD, or then maybe like in my case, maybe you want to go into some other place for a PhD where you are not able to directly get after your BTech. So doing a master's will be a good stop to like improve your profile and then apply again. The other case could be if you just like if you're not 100% sure of whether you want to do a PhD or not, then that can be a good thing to do. The third case could be just to improve your skills, and like because typically these universities in North America or any other like developed countries, they have better infrastructure and knowledge and stuff like that. So you can get better experience, like you can improve your skills, and you also get an opportunity to do like jobs in those countries which will have which will give you more like again experience and knowledge. So from that perspective, I think two key main motivators for people to come for masters, especially for the research ones, is like one is to do research and like to explore the paths of PhD and stuff like that, and the other is to like get a job in a developed country. So like because that opens your gateway to jobs. Otherwise, like you it will be difficult to get jobs in like these developed countries from India. So that like these are the like top reasons which I
Okay. Coming to jobs, how is the job prospects in Canada, and why specifically you chose Canada? Uh,
Yeah. So in my case, like I had options to go to US for PhD and Canada for master's research. So like Canada, typically the trend is to first go for a master's research and then go continue for PhD, because like that is how the funding structure is set up. US, there's typically no funding for MS. So the my reason for coming to Canada was not based on jobs, but just based on the overall ranking of university. And like as I said, like I could not get into the desired places for the PhD programs in US. So I thought I will come to Canada, improve my profile in the top university like Toronto, and then like afterwards I will apply to US and Europe. So like I did not specifically look at the job market. But to answer your question, like overall what I've heard from like the job market for software is good. Like I have heard students like who have earlier not even worked in pure software. Like for example, there was one of my roommates who was doing like electrical engineering related work, mainly I think in some biometrics or something like that, and like maybe undergrad he had in electrical, but he still got like a job in software in Hawaii, and I think right now he's in AFD. So definitely like many other students who are in PhD or master's program, they have like gotten into software jobs. The only thing is you have to apply externally, because unlike India, there's no such concept of campus recruitment. Companies just visit the campus and have a casual talk, but you have to still apply externally. So I'm not like 100% aware of the job market, but from whatever I have heard, like it is good. Like people do get jobs like in any program that they are in. Yeah, so that's.
so, what's the expected like average salary as a software engineer, masters in software engineer, get in Canada?
Yeah, so I think that may also depend upon like company to company and maybe also location. But I think what I have heard about is like anywhere between 70,000 per year to maybe like even 100,000 per year. Like that may be kind of the range, but I think that also depends upon the location. And for example, Google may be paying higher than IBM, for example. So yeah.
Okay, so that's great. Coming to the mistakes people do while planning, like many people will be planning to take up masters in computer science. So can you point out the mistakes which you did, people should avoid doing before planning such things?
Yeah, so one thing which people are not much aware is about the funding aspects. Like in my case, I did full survey of like the funding stuff, but like for example, in one case, like in Purdue, I got PhD, but there was no funding. So you have to be aware of these things, and you have to be careful about the funding aspects. This is like one mistake which people are not much aware, and then later they realize, and then it can be like a challenge, or then you have to take loans and stuff like that. The other thing is like the main kind of focus is on the letters that should be like the letters of recommendation. Like SOP is important, but that will mainly just put your application in the context. But your main results will be based on your GPA, on where you attended your undergrad, and then also like what do your letters say, because letters are something like somebody else is talking something about you. So like you have to focus on those. And like one mistake which I have also seen people make is like they focus too much on GRE scores. Like they think if they get 340 on 340 they will get any university, but that is not the case. Like I have friends who have gotten lesser scores and they are able to get into better places, and as compared to other students who don't like have a better score, but because of their gaps in like other gaps in the profile, like maybe a low GPA or not so much great letters, they are not able to get into great places. So like these are the overall things that you have to take care about. Apart from that, like I would say in my case, I was not much aware anything about Canada because all my friends went to the US. So it was a bit challenging for me to get in the information, like even basic stuff like of how much the funding is. For example, the website may not be clear in terms of what the amounts are. So like I was not even aware of those things, but I think it will be a good idea to join a program such as LeapScholar so that you can connect with like-minded students, mentors who can guide you through all the process and stuff like that. So yeah, that is what I would recommend.
While talking about the mistakes, now people have many myths in their mind, how much is marks important, or your communication skill or other extracurricular activities also matters while taking up a master's or studying abroad.
Yeah, so like your GPA or your percentage will be important because that is how they judge your ability to do the courses. So like if it is too low, then like there may be questions. So you may have like difficulties, but it is not like that is the only factor, because they will see your overall profile. So they will see like what kind of projects you have done, what kind of other experience apart from courses you have done. So that is what the letters like come into picture, where they will talk more about your experience and like what skills you possess and stuff like that. So I would definitely give some weightage to marks, but it is not like the whole thing, because like even if you have 100%, but if you don't have significant project experience out of that, then like you may not get into top places. So I think that you should always try to have like good percentage or GPA, but even if that is not the case, it's not a problem, like as long as you have some good experience outside of your courses, maybe by doing some projects or in industry, so that will cover up. So basically they are looking for your overall profile, not just one aspect.
Okay, sure.
And for communication skills, I think in Canada specifically, GRE may not be compulsory, but they definitely require TOEFL or IELTS score. And I think typically they do have some kind of minimum score mentioned on their website. So you have to just ensure that you meet that. As long as you meet that, I think you are good.
What are the resources which you used, or like websites or any other articles? So what are the resources people should look for while applying for scholarships or applying for any colleges? How to shortlist colleges? What is the most important thing which you think you helped in your journey?
Yeah. So in my case, because I was mainly focused on research, I used this website called csrankings.org. So that is a place which will rank all the universities based on different research areas you can sub-select and stuff like that. So it is like designed and maintained by an academic professor at University of Massachusetts. So like this is a good like starting point. Apart from that, there are other like articles in general you can read about the rankings, and there I got to know that Toronto, Waterloo, like these are the top universities in Canada. And then apart from this, the main thing to like look for in terms of what the application requirements are, for example the scores of TOEFL or is GRE required or not, like these kind of things you have to look into the specific like websites of the university. So every university, every department will have their website and the description of their program, what is required. For example, if it is a research program, then they may say you are free to contact professors. Then some may say like there's no need to contact professors early on. So like these kind of requirements which are like there may be small deviations here and there that you have to figure out by looking at the websites of these universities and these departments.
So what is the comparison parameter? Like when we want to find which is better, we need to compare it with something, right? So while shortlisting universities, what thing is which is the most important thing which you should consider?
So in my case, at least, because it was a research, the question of research, so I mainly looked at the CS rankings in my areas of interest, that is computer systems. So I just selected that section, and I had a ranking of the university. So that is the main aspect which I looked at from the research perspective. So these things may change for different students. For example, some students might be looking at a cost aspect. So for example, if they have if they are not looking for research but maybe just a course oriented program, and if they have options between Toronto and Waterloo, they might choose Waterloo because the living cost there is lower than what is there in Toronto. So those kind of parameters you can look at. So that depends upon person to person. If it is research, mainly you will look on the research rankings, because everything is covered by the funding. But if it is a course based program, then you might also look at other stuff like living cost, stuff like that. Or maybe the fees, in British Columbia, I think the fees are significantly lesser. So so that kind of stuff you might consider. Because I'm aware of one of my friends who had gone for MS in US, and they considered joining a university because the cost was significantly less there. Other universities may have costed 45-50 lakhs, but here even a loan of 15-20 lakhs was sufficient. So basically they chose the university based on that, even if that was not the number one in their area, maybe ranking 10-15 or something like that. So those kind of things you can consider based on what your priorities.
Okay, so what would be the one advice you would like to give people pursuing or planning to pursue computer science engineering from Canada?
Yeah, so the one thing, a few things I would say is first of all, you have to be clear on what kind of program you want to get in, because just because there's funding, you should not apply for a research one, because it requires some relevant experience, and it can be more challenging because you have to work with a professor with whom you meet regularly, and only if they are if they approve of your progress, only then you can continue and complete the program. Otherwise you may have to switch to a course based program. And your funding will also depend upon if you are not making good progress, then your funding will stop. So those kind of things are there. So you have to be cautious. Just because there's funding, you should not apply to a research program, because you might be able to get into a better university for a course based program instead, if that is what your interest is. The other things are you have to be ready to live frugally in Canada. Even if you have funding, it may be difficult to live whatever luxurious life, because here typically you have to cook on your own and stuff like that. So eating outside is very expensive, unlike in India where a mess or typically in hostel you will have mess which is cheap. But here even undergrads after their first year or so, they will start cooking on their own. So you have to be prepared of those livelihood skills maybe some months at least before you come to Canada. So definitely if you're in course based program where you don't have funding, you can search for part-time jobs. Here it is not a big deal to do jobs in hotels and stuff like that, because there is dignity of labor. So nobody will consider you or look down upon you if you're working in a hotel or a library or stuff like that. So I have friends who are in course based programs, and they are doing these kind of jobs. So they will pay you and help you to pay off some of your food bills or something like that. So you have to be open to those kind of things as well. Apart from that, definitely there are opportunities to do tiership, which will also pay you maybe significantly more than what these kind of jobs will pay. So yeah, so you have to be open to all the things. And especially in Canada, like the winter can be harsh. So it is not a big deal because you will get adjusted to it. You just have to buy the right winter gear, like the shoes, the jackets and stuff like that, and you will be fine. But you have to be aware of like these kind of conditions which are there. But overall the experience is good, like because there will be other friends who are in the same boat as you are, so they will help you and support. Yeah.
Okay. You talked about apart from part-time jobs, people can also earn from peership, right?
Yeah, so tiership is like, for example, even in a research program when I can definitely apply, and I do have like offers there. So like in Toronto University, at least the scheme is you have to just work for 5 hours a week, and so that is like 60 hours in a semester, and they pays like around $600 to $700 per month. So that may be sufficient to like pay your food bills, or maybe like help you like put a part on the rent that you're paying. So in my case, although like I'm not required to do it because like I have funding, I'm still doing it just for the experience. But I have seen like students getting TA jobs, and I think this is the scheme which is there in Toronto. So the hourly rate is 45 hours, which is more than the standard minimum wage, which is $15 a hour. So definitely like these kind of opportunities will be there at all universities because they have a lot of undergraduate intake, and so there will be opportunities. The hours and the pay may be like may differ, but like at least this is what is the case in my case. Apart from that, I have some friends like who are doing like tutoring. So basically you just register on some website, and then you set your like pay maybe 20 hours a week. Maybe you can like the hour, so you can start from a small number, and then like students who want help with their assignments and stuff like that, they will come and register sessions with you, and then you can like help them maybe learn some language, or maybe like help in their assignments. And then definitely you can put up in your profile that you have TA these courses, you are doing research in this area, and so on. So like this is also some way in which I have seen like some of my friends like earn some money. Okay, so that is like freelancing tutorship.
Yeah, that's really great. Many people don't know about this. Basically everyone talks only about the part-time jobs in restaurants and all, but this is good to know that you can also work as a tiership and a freelancer in your college. Okay. So one more question that comes up is what is the process to apply to these tierships? Are there any, is it on the college website, or how to apply there?
Yeah, it is definitely like the department will have application form through which you fill your preferred courses, and then you'll also like submit your resume. So like from that they will shortlist the thing. So typically like if you are into a research program and in that area of interest, you will definitely have a higher chance. But apart from that, like even if you have taken some higher level graduate course, for example if you have taken advanced OS, then maybe undergrad OS, they will consider you for the tiership. So there are these kind of opportunities. Typically the university and the department will have the information of like where to apply and stuff.
How is the overall environment, like student life in Canada? Is it too difficult, or what is the difficulty level?
Yeah, so it will be like more challenging than what is there in India, because the professors are like very knowledgeable in like their respective areas, and the students are also like especially like it will also depend a bit on like where you go. So because like Toronto being the topmost, like it will be more competitive, and like students will put their efforts and stuff like that. But otherwise like professors are like very much understanding. For example, like they might extend the deadlines for projects, like I told, as it was done in my case earlier, like in a couple of courses. So they are a bit flexible in that sense. But yeah, like you will have all the support in terms of the professors will be available to discuss anything, and students also will typically form groups and study and like do projects and stuff like that. So it will be definitely more challenging than what it is in India, but it is like definitely what you can like calibrate yourself, and like you have to like improve yourself. But it is a doable thing, because like many people do like come from various backgrounds in the undergrad from different countries, and they do get adjusted. So it can be difficult initially, especially with the new environment and the weather and like the all the different things. But later on, like I think within the first semester, like after a few months, like you will get the idea of that, and it will be good.
Yeah, that's great. So before we go and end this meeting, what are the top 3 tips you would like to give to the students? Tips and tricks which you think might help them.
Yeah. So like in terms of, I would say, if you're applying for research programs, then definitely look for like rankings based on some like website like CS rankings, because that is something which will give you rankings based on the publications where professors are doing their research. And it is not that always the number one university will have the best professor. Sometimes like even lower ranked will have good professors. So like that way you have to look at these rankings, like you have to take them with a pinch of salt. Mainly it is what is important is your research interest matching, and like where they are publishing and stuff like that. The other things is like you have to like be aware of what your main goal is. For example, if it is a course based program and getting a job, then you may want to optimize, like it may be difficult frankly to get funding, especially like fully funding from university or stuff. So in that case you may look at other factors as well, like the living costs. So for example, in Waterloo it may be cheaper to live than in Toronto or Vancouver, or then the British Columbia, the fees are lesser. So like those aspects you have to consider. And apart from that, I would say like you have to like take feedback from your friends, like especially if they have earlier applied and got into good programs, then like that will be helpful. And then you can definitely join a program such as LeapScholar, through which you have good guidance of counselors and other student mentors who will help you throughout all the process.
Yeah. Okay, Nikhil. That was really an informative session, and hope this helps all the other students who are planning to pursue the same. So thank you for being with us. It was really great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well.